Hello everyone, this is Zero Tolerance back for the second time today. What we have here today is two of the first kits I built when I returned to modeling. These kits were done in December and November of last year. They are a pair of British Challenger 2 main battle tanks. Anyways, before I go into these tanks, I would like to once again say that I do not use an airbrush. I do not own one. I hand paint all of my tanks with brushes. The Challenger 2, one of them you're about to see, is the desertized version. It is not exactly to historic accuracy because I did not really like the tank left in a desert paint scheme. I did kind of copy a little bit of the Canadian scheme. At the time, I could not get the green to mix properly, so I had to go with a brown and black paint scheme. The other one, of course, is the Dozer Blade Modification Challenge 2, and without a further moment's notice, I'm going to reveal the tanks. We have here the Optelic version of the Challenger 2 from Trumpeter. It is a 1/35th scale main battle tank. As you can see, the turret is very functional. Once again, I always have a problem with the little turret locks. The side skirts have been weathered. The tank has been weathered. I even went in with a little bit of oil and lined up the armor platings to reveal them a little bit better. My wife is once again holding the camera. She is an amazing woman for helping me with these videos. She bought my desk. So the antennas are made with I'm not sure if anybody knows how to do this, but the antennas are the same way just about everybody makes them as far as I know. You take an extra sprue, you melt it with a lighter, and then you pull very gently until you have the desired width of the antenna that you want. This, like I said, is the one that is not exactly historically correct. It is the Optelic version, the Operation Telic version of the Challenger 2. Mine, like I said, is a little bit different because of the camouflage pattern. Now, this, however, is my Dozer Challenger 2. This one I left entirely historically accurate. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same tank that is in Afghanistan and Iraq today from the British forces. The Dozer, of course, has been weathered. It has been used. It's not exactly, factory new. It's definitely a very dirty tank. Again, let's see if I can do this first try. Nope, I messed up. I can never find this one either. Regardless, okay. One thing I did have is that this main gun is still allowed to function properly. I'm not sure if I did something wrong with this one, or if it was the way that this tank was manufactured at the factory, but this main gun does not move. It sits on a very small, squarish bracket in the back here that's supposed to sit into two round sockets which allow it to elevate. But whenever I did this, the entire turret assembly would disassemble. And at the risk of breaking it, I went ahead and I glued it as a solid piece. Now the turret still does move, and everything. The wheels have been weathered. It's not muddy. It's more of a dusty desert type look that I was going for with this tank. I really like my pair of Challengers. There are two of my first tanks when I returned to models. They are one of the best main battle tanks in the world, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to actual real main battle tanks, the Challenger 2 is a great tank. The British love the thing. That's the reason I chose it, was because I wanted the beast of tanks of the modern age, and the Challenger 2 is definitely one of those tanks. These tanks were very easy to put together, very, very easy. Even the assembly here for the Dozer blade was not very difficult at all. I would definitely recommend these kits for any beginner, any intermediate, any advanced modeler that wants to just complete his collection or add one to his collection. These are very beautiful kits, very, very nicely put together. I did not have any fitting issues, except for back here on this turret. There was a lot of fitting issues back here with these panels. As you can see, they did not line up properly, but they fit, they just did not line up. And I don't know why this seam here seems to fit really well here, but not really well here. I really wish that when they did this tank, if they ever upgrade it or, you know, put out a newer version, I really want a solid turret like was on this tank. This was a much better turret to assemble and to put together than this one was. This was a headache. I'm not going to use the words I want to use, but putting these on and getting them to sit there for long enough for the glue to tack and dry was a headache. Also, let me see here. These tanks did include fuel tanks in the back. Mine are a bright green. I had some issues dry brushing in with the rails here on the lights. Mine are actually upside down, because when I looked at the instructions on this tank, it said to assemble them this way and to insert them this way. But then, when I assembled this tank, they were to be assembled the other way. You're probably not going to be able to see this through the bar armor very well, but they are in there and they are the proper way on this kit. So I'm not sure if that was an issue with them or me misunderstanding the instructions. Once again, I am guilty of misunderstandings. But either way, these are two of my favorite tanks because they were two of my tanks when I returned. I can't really complain about them except for the fitting issue on this turret. The fitting issue on this turret was kind of a pain. Other than that, the rubber band tracks are very secure on these tanks. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're very nicely done. They represent the tank's tracks from the actual tanks very well, I feel. I do wish that they will eventually upgrade these tanks and their fittings and maybe do something similar to the track patterns on the T90s or even some of the Merkavas that they do now where you have to assemble the track links. That would be very nice in my opinion. Anyways, guys, this is Zero Tolerance, once again, signing out. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope that you stick around for other reviews. I still have 2 more tanks. So, I will see you guys later.